to another episode of But Have You Heard About Conspiracy Theory Edition. I'm your host. I'm your host, Courtney, and as always, I'm joined by my wonderful partner in crime and in life, Matt.
Hello.
Today we have a special one.
Not the last one?
It's better than the last one because this one is funny.
Is it like the mole people under the
Nope.
Chicago airport or whatever?
Nope.
Airport?
Not the mole people. Birds aren't real.
Is this that freaking surveillance bird bull crap that people have been talking about recently?
So hold on. This whole thing, it's not weird, but there's a whole method to this madness, and I was like, well, is this conspiracy theory like a real conspiracy theory? And we're going to dive into that because...
Or is it a meme? Because, there's plenty of memes that are just silly, but if this is real, I gotta hear this. This is just...
I would say it is both. There are both sides of this coin out there. One side is smarter than the other, and I'll let you figure that one out.
So it's like flat earthers that have evidence, quote unquote, but
no.
Oh god.
Okay.
Right.
So this movement started in 2018 as a joke that thousands are in on. That's the tagline.
Seriously?
So it is a satirical conspiracy theory which states that birds are actually drones operated by the U.S. government to spy.
Yep.
There's more to this. But in 2017, at a Women's March rally, Peter McIndoe, and I'm probably pronouncing his name wrong, created the theory on a whim. After seeing pro-Trumpers at this counter-protest, he decided to make his own satirical sign at their protest in Tennessee that said birds aren't real. And it basically went viral on the internet, as one does in 2017. But also, if you were not, into Trump, you needed a reason to laugh at the rally, and you're like, what the hell is this person doing? So it's literally like going to a baseball game wearing a hockey jersey and thinking that you have 4 quarters.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where you're like, this is not what this is, but you're out here existing. Peter McIndoe originally said it was satire in a post in 2017, after it went viral, but then tried to claim someone else on his staff wrote that it was satire, that he totally 100% believes in it, and saying he believed this conspiracy until 2021. There's a whole thing to this, and we're gonna jump around a little on that because I want to talk about the theory itself that he created. So between 1959 to 1971, the federal government exterminated all the birds and replaced them with drones. Okay. So this is not far-fetched if you think about history and what the U.S. government was doing in the 50s and 60s. They were building power lines. Yeah. And, for these quote-unquote drones to recharge, they had to sit on power lines. And if the government is building power lines, of course they're going to kill the real birds by having them electrocuted with the power lines and replacing them with these drones. And when these quote-unquote birds or drones poop on, cars or people or animals or whatnot, it's to track them. That's how they track you, is with the bird poop.
What?
But this is such a thought-out, conspiracy theory that you're like, huh.
The guy took as much time as he needed to concoct every possible question that someone could have.
Wait, it gets better.
What about this? Well, what about that? And it's like, nope, poop is tracking something.
Yep, because if they're going to poop, it's a track. I mean, if they're eating, it's to replenish their, whatever mechanic is inside that drone. Well, have you taken a dead bird apart? No, because do you remember, as a child, you were always told, don't touch that dead animal?
Well, yeah, because it was always...
it's a drone, and it could electrocute you.
Yeah, no, it was because we grew up with, bird flu and shit like that. So it was don't touch dead animals or you get disease.
Again, maybe that was a government-employed thing. Mm-hmm. So, the cherry on top to this conspiracy theory, because it ties into another conspiracy theory, which I love it even more. JFK was assassinated by the government for not wanting to kill all the real birds. Had nothing to do with Cuba, had nothing to do with the mafia, had nothing to do with, Lee Harvey Oswald, just being Lee Harvey Oswald and whatnot, and just being upset with the government and the country.
But the FBI killed JFK.
Well, it's the federal government. Yeah. Federal bureau, so, because of the birds.
Oh, okay.
It's all because of the bird. He didn't fall in line.
That's the thing. Okay. That's why the FBI killed him, because he wouldn't fall in line with the bird.
The birds. So, this conspiracy theory, you can check it out. You can buy material. There have been billboard posters. Out of all the conspiracy theories in the world,
Yeah.
this is the one that I think when you see a billboard poster for it, you laugh. Mm-hmm. You see shirts or merchandise for it. You honestly would probably buy it because it's one of those things where you're like, this is funny.
It's a joke. It's supposed to be a joke. It's supposed to be fun. It's not supposed to be serious.
Exactly. So, McIndoe created this whole character that supports this movement 110%. He created this character himself that talks about, and that's why I think
how you get like QAnon morons.
He created this area, this idea that you can have a safe space to joke and poke fun of other conspiracy theories by doing it to this one. Mm-hmm. To show how far-fetched these conspiracy theories are with little to no support and evidence.
Right.
So he did that, but he created also his own character that when he I think he did an interview on 60 Minutes, he stayed in character for the first half. About very much so into it. And then went out of character to talk about his character, conspiracy theories, and the fact that people that don't understand the joke fall for it. Mm-hmm. And I'm not to say that people are dumb, because if you go, it doesn't take much to believe in a conspiracy theory. You just have to have a little bit of doubt. It is just...
You have to just see a little bit of doubt in something.
It's also the same way with the way our judicial system works if you're on a jury. Mm. You have to see beyond a reasonable doubt that this couldn't be real. Mm. But if we know anything about the government, especially during that time frame that he picked out, 1959 to 71, you have MKUltra, you have J. Edgar Hoover and his files at the FBI over here tracking civilians. You have, the anti-communist movement, in that if you turn in your neighbors. So the government itself was already shithole.
Right.
He figured out a good time frame to pick it up and to implant that little bit of, I could see the government doing this. I could see the government experimenting. The government did experiment on its own civilians, specifically those in black communities with syphilis. Mm-hmm. I can see them tracking us with birds.
It's also the perfect time frame because a lot of really gullible people, especially seeing them now, we know that this age group of people, that were young in this time frame are gullible as hell. And they just, he picked that perfect time frame to be like, this is why you didn't see birds, or this is where these power lines are at. So it's when you were a kid and you didn't see this, he's gaslighting people at the same time.
And the thing is that he's from our generation. He's a millennial.
I know.
But he found the perfect,
He concocted it so perfectly because he knew how to create a perfect conspiracy.
And he shows and talks about how easy it is to fall a victim to conspiracy theories. Mm-hmm. And this was at the beginning of QAnon.
Yeah.
If I were to go up and start asking people, do you believe that birds are real? And then ask them about QAnon, if you present the same facts for both sides, mm-hmm. They would probably be agreeable to both or disagreeable to both.
Or
I don't think you...
Brain.
Well, and that's what I'm saying. They're either going to agree with both or be like, well, I could see it. Because again, when we did The World Ended in 2012, I could see it. For you to believe these conspiracy theories, specifically for this one, mm-hmm. that the government is keeping us in check with these bird drones. Mm-hmm. What is there to lose by believing in this? As long as you are not...
Your credibility.
But if I'm not advocating for it on my truck, if I'm not over here with a bumper sticker on my car, or I'm not, going door to door telling everybody that birds aren't real, you need to destroy your bird feeders.
I mean, that's like being any closeted crazy person, or a closeted racist.
But I don't think that believing, because I think sometimes if that's what's going to make you feel better about the world inside and what's going on.
Believe in magic.
Do you believe in magic in a young girl's heart? Mm-hmm. Well, if you don't, Matt.
The world having mystery is, I think, a dead way of thinking.
Yeah, and so now we have to have these conspiracy theories to come up with why things are the way they are, because we don't... The simple and true answer is too easy to believe, and things need to become more complicated, because our brain just hasn't wrapped around how things can just be and exist. And if we don't understand something, there must be some sort of conspiracy theory that got us to that point.
Yeah. I don't know. Why believe in birds that aren't real? Because you think that... Because your life sucks?
I think...
I don't get it.
No. So, people that would legitimately believe in it, I think you're believing it until somebody says, hey, you know that this is fake and this person made this a satire, this is what they said, and it's to prove that you easily fall victim and prey to other conspiracy theories. Maybe that would help someone that fell victim to it realize that, hey, by falling victim to this, you might be falling victim to other conspiracy theories. And when someone says that you're believing in a conspiracy theory, you probably did.
Right. Maybe think twice about what you feel is realistic.
Like, not that I wanted to go a deep dive into things, but people that do believe in QAnon, that still believe in QAnon, if you can convince them, especially easily, that birds aren't real and believe in this conspiracy theory, and then break them to be like, you see how easy this was completely fake. And we even gave you like the same type of approach that QAnon gave you. Could this be the conspiracy theory that could help bridge the gap of bringing people back?
The birds one.
The birds one.
I mean, it is incredibly stupid, but also...
plausible.
But also so ridiculously, thought out that you can easily grab people. Basically have all your ducks in a row on this conspiracy when people start asking questions about it, so it seems more plausible because you have every answer to every question that someone could possibly have for it.
And that is how every conspiracy theory goes. And even if you have pitfalls, there's always an answer to it.
Yeah.
But I think this could be, this is the one. I think this is the one that really, if you are not in on the joke.
Right.
Like, if you believe in birds aren't real, but you're not a part of the joke thought process of it, I really do think that it could be the one that changes you to stop thinking that the Earth is flat. The moon landing didn't exist.
There are some people that are so just cognitively disassociated that they will flat out deny the person that made up. Like, you could be the leader of this coalition for this conspiracy, and then you just come out and say, it's fake, I made it up. Everyone, there's some people out there that will toss you away and continue that bullshit. So there's a danger in that, too.
So, not even a conspiracy theory. So, World War II.
Mm-hmm.
Into World War II, Japan surrenders to the U.S. Have you heard this whole story about, the emperor surrendering? And because the majority of Japan, of those living in Japan, had never seen the emperor, they thought it was fake.
Right.
I think that's the same situation.
Right.
Again, I'm not a psychologist. I literally just look at history and say, this looks like fun. We should talk more about it. And then conspiracy theories are fun for us to take apart and pick apart. And this one, it's a fun put together conspiracy theory, which makes me think, could I put my own conspiracy theory together?
What would you want to do?
I don't know, man.
All the good ones are already taken.
No, I think, you know what? I'll give myself a think about this. It's my new phrase that I stole from a colleague. Give myself a think.
We'll call it.
No. I gotta give myself a think about what I want to say is either real or isn't real.
Oh, okay.
And then we gotta, you know what? Stay tuned for an episode about Courtney's conspiracy theory that she's come up with.
Okay.
I'm gonna see if I can convince you.
Yeah.
It'll be probably a few episodes from now.
Just to throw me off where it's like, is this something that the internet
so now,
made up or something that you made up?
But that's the other thing, is that this is going to be a game for everybody, because you got to read the tagline at the end of my description to see if it's a real conspiracy theory or did Courtney made it up.
That's good. That's a good one. It's like, what's that one show? Believe It or Not?
Believe it or not, you got to figure out which is a real conspiracy theory.
That's great.
Well, I guess that's a new game for our podcast. But thanks again for joining us on our But Have You Heard About Conspiracy Theory edition. As always, I'm your host, Courtney, and I'm joined by Matt.
Matt, I'm here.
Thank you again for joining us, and we hope you have a fabulous rest of your day, week, whatever. If you're just existing, I hope this brought you a little bit of peace and joy like it did for us. And with that, have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.